The next bill on the calendar for today is House File 90. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 90, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to public defenders, the first engrossment.
I recognize the author of the bill, the member from Ramsey, Representative Becker-Finn, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Speaker. And members, I hope you pay attention to this, because even though I don't expect necessarily a lot of discussion to this bill, it is incredibly important, and it has been years, if not decades, in the making to get to this point. This bill is simple. It funds something that we as a state are constitutionally required to fund, but we have failed to do adequately for decades. The core of our criminal justice system in the United States rests on a few basic principles that hopefully we're all familiar with. That you are innocent until proven guilty, and that you must be provided a lawyer if you cannot afford one. The Sixth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution clearly states that you have a right to an attorney if you are charged with a crime. Further, the U.S. Supreme Court has held that it is the responsibility of the states to fund that system. This is well-established, settled law. And yet, we as a state, have been failing our citizens for decades by not adequately supporting this system. Funding for public defenders has historically been treated as just another line item in the budget, and funded as if it is just another line item in the budget. But today, we're finally lifting this up and treating this with the seriousness and attention it deserves. One of the reasons that there probably aren't a lot of people from the public here today to talk to you and to cheer us on as we pass this bill is that they are too busy doing the work out in our communities. Chair, Speaker, thank you.
Members, please take your conversations off of the House floor. Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I was saying, your constituents, public defenders who do work every day in every corner of our state, are too busy doing the work to be here cheering us on today. They are overworked and they are underpaid, doing something that we are constitutionally required to provide to our citizens. The integrity of our entire justice system rests on the public defense system. If you want to talk about freedom, you want to talk about liberty, that's the work that our public defenders do. And outcomes should not be dictated based on your access to wealth. When I first took over as chair of the Judiciary Committee, one of the first things that apparently had never been done before was I asked the public defenders, I asked civil legal services, I asked guardian ad litems, not just what is the most you can dream to ask for, but what do you actually need to function? And in the past, folks had always just asked for 2.5%, 3% increases because they thought that was all that they would be able to get. And we finally started asking the question, what do you need to do this work adequately? And this bill reflects that. I saw my Republican counterpart, I believe, is going to speak to this as well, but I do want to direct members, you should be getting a letter. This is supported by folks from a lot of different backgrounds. There's a letter that's getting handed out from the Teamsters as well as Americans for Prosperity. This is not a partisan issue. This is a justice issue, and we're finally going to deal with it today. Finally, I do want to thank the staff who have worked on this for years with me to get to this point. We have tried many, many, many ways to get this across the finish line, and I am really proud that we finally get to do that today. So thank you, and I hope that everybody in this body can support this bill. Thank you.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File number 90.
Third reading. Discussion to the bill. I recognize the member from Anoka, Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Chair Becker-Finn, thanks for bringing this bill. Members, this is fundamental to our way of life here in America, that you are, if you can't afford a defense, that one shall be provided for you. And so I fully support this amendment. I think it passed out of committee unanimously, and it's just an important basic of what we should be doing in this body. So I encourage member support. Thanks.
I recognize the member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This has been a long fight and struggle I wish Sandy Keith was still alive to see this, because he worked diligently for the public defenders. He's I believe, the only one that was elected to the executive branch, elected to the legislative branch, and was on our Supreme Court. So he knew the whole of the branches of government and the importance of public defenders. And his later years in life, he devoted to this cause. So for him and all the others, I shall be voting for this.
Further discussion to the bill. I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I just rise to really thank Chair Becker-Finn for her work. I guess I would not have thought, I'm so delighted that we're all coming together in support of equal justice on both sides of the criminal justice equation. I'll just say that as a prosecutor, I know how incredibly important it is that people on the other side, people being charged with crimes, have strong legal defense. And thanks so much to Lead Scott for her support as well. This is really, really important fundamental work, and many thanks.
Is there any further discussion to the bill? I recognize the member from Ramsey, the author of the bill, Representative Becker-Finn.
I thank you, Speaker, and I do want to thank my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. This is not a partisan issue, and I'm glad that we've been able to move it forward in that way. I was remiss. I did not mention, one of the key Supreme Court cases, Gideon v. Wainwright, and we do have a Minnesota connection there with Walter Mondale. Finally, it's been a long way to get here, and I know it's not a funding bill that's one sentence long for an agency that's often overlooked. Is not necessarily the sexiest of topics to discuss on the House floor, but it is incredibly important, and this is the exact kind of work that I hope all of us came here to do. Welcome your support. Thank you, Speaker.
There being no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. Would the clerk please call the name of the member who is voting remotely?
Clardy.
Clardy votes aye.
Clardy votes aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 131 ayes and 0 nays, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.